Every year, there are hundreds of midget auto races, but only one Turkey Night Grand Prix. The first race was run in 1934 at the old Gilmore Stadium, won by Bob Swanson. By 1960, Ascot Park Speedway had become the site where the very best of the best in American auto racing would come to compete on Thanksgiving night and win. The king of midget auto racing, Mel Kenyon, is a two-time Turkey Night winner. But that doesn't come close to Ron Schumann's record 8 victories. Tonight, the oldest, most prestigious midget race of them all continues at the newest and most palatial short track of them all. Next on Thunder. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, welcomes you to Irwindale Speedway in Southern California for the 60th running of the Turkey Night Grand Prix for the USAC MCI WorldCom National and Western Midget Car Series. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Larry Rice, and I have been going to races either as a spectator or as an employee in some capacity for many, many years. One race I have always wanted to see but have been unable to is this one here tonight. You know the importance of it.
Well, I certainly do. I've been coming here since 1969. Haven't been here every year, but I've been here a lot of years. And there never ceases to amaze me the quality of cars and the quality of drivers that come to this race. We've got drivers from 15 states, all over the country, all the way from Pennsylvania, but they want to win this race because it's been running since 1934.
And you're not the only one that hasn't won this race.
No, I'm not. Sleepy Trip, Roger Ward, there's a few other guys that didn't win it either.
The top 14 qualifiers are locked into the top 14 starting positions. However, the top 6 will be inverted. That means that Dave Darland will start on the pole position for tonight's race. Now, let's take a look at the second 7. And in this is Jay Drake, who qualified 11th fastest. He's going for a record-tying 19 wins this season in the United States Auto Club. Now, tonight's format will have 2 12-lap heat races, and the top 8 finishers from both of those will make up the 30-car starting field for tonight's 100-lap feature, and a pretty hefty purse is on the line. NASCAR Winston Cup star Tony Stewart is here tonight. He's the winningest driver in the 2000 Winston Cup Series with 6 victories. He is here tonight, and he is glad that he is here because he wants revenge from a year ago. Now, Tony was leading this race on the next to the last lap last year, and he lost it when he had a mechanical problem, and his teammate, Jason Leffler, went around him and won the race. He wants revenge in the worst way here tonight. Here's Amy East.
And happy holidays, everybody. I know for a lot of you it's weird to think that we are racing a midget race on Thanksgiving, but for many of us, it's all that we've done our whole lives. And 2 drivers, those Gibbs racing rivals of Tony Stewart and Jason Leffler, know how important this race is. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Your resume for open wheel is awesome, but it lacks one thing, and that's this win.
Well, this isn't the only one that we're lacking, but, you know, this is, you know, it's 60 years of tradition here tonight. So, you know, Kerry Agajane's been my attorney and a longtime friend of mine, and his family's a great friend of mine also. So to come out here and run their race, it's really special for us. And it comes at the right time. It comes at the end of the year. So, you know, if I get hurt a little bit, it gives me the winner to heal up. But, you know, I wouldn't miss this race for the world. This is the one that, you know, we won the Copper Classic. We won the night before the 500. This is the one that we really want. So we're going to keep trying to come back until we get this one nailed down.
And last year, I know Bob Jenkins already talked about the rival between Jason and Tony, and what a race that was last year. I mean, the 2 of you battling. It was the last turn of the last lap. You scored the Turkey Night victory. Quick time, starting from the 3rd row. Well, what do you have for your teammates?
I don't know. We'll just have to see, you know, but the cars are working awful good. Kelly Drake, Bob East, they're busting their butt, you know, and the things are, you know, we got 4 cars here tonight, so we're spread pretty thin, but we all qualified well, and looking forward to a great race.
And those 4 cars consist of not only Tony Stewart and Jason Leffler, the NASCAR standouts, also young Casey Kane and Dave Darland.
And what an incredible year Casey Kane has had. As a matter of fact, he has already clinched the 2000 MCI WorldCom National Midget Crown.
He came back to the Midwest for the first time this year. Nobody really expected him to do this well, but he wrapped up this championship very early. He did a terrific job.
There is no contest as far as the championship in the national standings. He has clinched it. However, with 52 points available here tonight, some of the other positions in the national midget car points can change. Now, there is a race within a race here tonight. The Western Midget car title is definitely up for grabs. Coming into this event, Wally Pankratz has only a 26-point lead over Bobby Boone. So the title is going to be decided here tonight.
Yes, it's very interesting. Take a look at this picture. That's Wally Pankratz in 1989. He won a race at Ascot driving for Bobby Boone's father. That is Bobby Boone sitting on his lap. Now, he doesn't want him sitting there tonight. He wants to be in front of him. But very interesting that these guys have been together this long.
And look at this shot here. It's Back to the Future. Bobby, you're much too big. You're much too heavy. Stand up. Bobby on my right, on my left is Wally. You know, this guy was your hero growing up. What's it like to race him now for the championship?
It's really neat. You know, I raced go-karts for a long time, for about 3 years, and I never really thought I'd get a chance to race Wally, let alone try to race him for his first championship, and it'd be my first championship to win, too.
He was actually your babysitter when you were very young. No babysitting tonight, though. Hey, what would this mean to you at the age of 55? You've been second on 3 occasions in a national championship. What would it mean to win this championship this evening?
Well, it obviously would mean a lot. It would really mean a lot to all the older people that have been calling me up, wishing me luck. I mean, if I don't do it, I'm going to let them all down. But one thing that's great tonight is if I don't win, I can drink champagne with him because it's a win-win for me because I'd love to see him win it too.
And you can say I taught him everything he knows about driving midgets. Speaking of driving midgets, I think Rice mentioned that he first started racing at this event back in '69. You were there that night, were you not?
Yeah, I was in the grandstands, and he was driving the old blue Offie that night, and after the first corner, I think they took it home in a paper bag and a plastic bag.
Yeah, that's about right. They did take it home in a paper bag. George Snyder, I'm like every other race car driver. I have an excuse. George Snyder stuck a wheel in me. I got upside down. I was hurt. That was the only time I really got hurt in a race car, but it was also the last time I ever drove a midget or any kind of a race car without a roll cage.
I knew it'd be George Snyder's fault. That sets the stage for tonight's 60th annual Turkey Night Grand Prix from Irwindale Speedway in Southern California. Stay tuned for an exciting night of racing. ESPN's coverage of the 60th annual Turkey Night Grand Prix from Irwindale is being brought to you by Daytona, USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction. Good crowd has turned out here on Thanksgiving night to see this very prestigious midget car race. Now, we mentioned that Jay Drake has 18 wins. If he can pull another win off tonight, he ties a national record. Here's Amy East.
And it has been a phenomenal season for Jay Drake. Just awesome to have 18 USAC wins. A.J. Foyt and Sleepy Tripp are the other two drivers that have had such phenomenal seasons, but they had 19 wins. You're just 1 win away from tying them, 2 from beating them, and you have 2 rides out here tonight.
Yeah, we do. Actually, I was able to come up with a TQ ride at the last minute last night. Dennis Hart called me and then asked me if I wanted to run his TQ. I said, sure, why not? We're going to be here anyway, so it's another race, and then, like you say, another chance at getting on top of that list there. And, you know, it's amazing to even be on the list with all those great race car drivers, and to think that we have a shot at actually coming out on top of it is just kind of remarkable.
Well, Jay Drake's going to give it his all, you guys. He might tie the record, but he's going for the win.
That's the TQ that he will be racing here tonight. He's qualified 11th fast for the midget car competition. And there are the names on that list. As you can see, Foyt and Tripp, as Amy mentioned, are at the top. But just to be tied with names like Foyt, Jones, Tripp, Vogler, and Boat is a pretty good season.
Well, it certainly is. Unbelievable, really, to win that many races in USAC. It's difficult to win any kind of a race in any kind of a division, but to come out and win 18 in 1 year, unbelievable.
Cars are warming up and getting into formation for the first 12-lap qualifying race here tonight. And again, the top 8 finishers in this race will fall into the starting lineup for the big 100-lap finale. This is a half-mile racetrack here at Irwindale, and the banking is gradual from the bottom to the top, so that means that we will see 2 and 3 wide racing through the corners, most likely.
Right, it certainly is, and it really just makes a 2-groove racetrack very evident.
And the lineup for this first qualifying race, Tony Hunt is on the pole in car number 4, and Thomas Meserol outside in number 00. In the second row, Michael Lewis in number 85 and Brad Curtis in 12. The third row, Michael Rosselli Jr. in 98 and Ricky Shelton in number 74. The fourth row, Wally Pankratz, who's trying to wrap up the Western Midget Car Championship here tonight, and Matt Streeter in number 97. The fifth row, car 55, John Starks, and 59, Nick Bonoro Jr. The sixth row, Ted Hines in number 84 and Eric Roberts in 22. The seventh row is Bud Kading in number 29 and Kratz in 45. Chris Ryan will line up on the inside of row number 8 alongside James Baxter II. Mike Smith has the inside of row number 9, and outside will be Danny Stratton. And Ron Horton in car number 27 will be the final starter in this 12-lap qualifying race.
There is Wally Pankratz. He's a guy that's really been working very hard for many years to win a championship out here. He's run second several times, and he'd love nothing better than to go on with that championship tonight. He's 55 years old, but he's young at heart, and he still drives awful hard.
And you know, despite the fact that he leads the points and could win the title, he has not won a race this year. He has finished second on 4 different occasions, so he would also like to get a victory here tonight. There's Michael Lewis in number 85, and we certainly remember his first victory earlier this year at Anderson.
Certainly do. A photo finish with Casey Kane. They were bumping and rubbing the whole last corner and last straightaway, but he came away with the victory. What a great win.
He is from Noblesville, Indiana. The front row consists of Tony Hunt in car number 4 and Thomas Meserol in number 00, and a big announcement from Tony Hunt just earlier today.
Yeah, he announced that Cotter Nadeau Racing Team for next year. He and Jerry Nadeau, Tom Cotter have got together, and they're going to have a Silver Crown and Sprint Car Champion team for next year in USAC.
Here we go. The first of 2 12-lap qualifying races is underway, and Hunt gets a good start from the pole position, but Michael Lewis takes the lead as they go through the second corner and down the backstretch. Lewis was ready for that green flag, and he pounced on the front row, but look what I tell you, 3 wide racing here through the corners. That is Pankratz in the yellow and Ricky Shelton alongside in the 74.
And Pankratz got around as he just went by there on the inside as he made a nice move clear on the bottom of the racetrack. And look at this. Wally's still hanging on to that position. He's running in 4th spot right now. The top 8 transfers, so he's well up far enough. Oh,
smoke. Coming from Pankratz's car. Was it tires?
I think it was. I thought it was an engine when I first saw it, but I think he just got on the brakes a little bit and had some smoke coming out of the left front tire.
Quickly down to Gary Lee.
And Wally, you know, almost curtailed his career to nothing last season and told me I was only going to run some selected races this year. But the racing went so well, we had to keep going. And now he finds himself at the age of 55 in this championship point side.
And this is the battle for the 3rd position. Wally has it right now and is being challenged by Michael Rosselli Jr. in the number 98 car. But it looks like that was tire smoke because things are okay for Pankratz. Last Saturday night at Bakersfield, he had a terrible accident and had to borrow a car to make the feature. But he wants desperately to win this championship. That's Brad Curtis in the number 12 car running there.
That's Meserol, yeah, 00.
Back.
Yeah, he's fallen way back.
Halfway through as we watch the battle for the 8th position. That's Meserol in the number 00 yellow car, and Brad Curtis takes the position away from him. And now Meserol will try to fight back on the inside, but not have much luck down there. He'll go up to the high side and try it up there as they come through the 3rd and 4th corners.
Yeah, actually Meserol is in 8th spot, so he still has a transfer spot, but he has fallen back just a little bit.
That's Bud Kading in the number 29 car that's right behind Meserol, so Kading has got to move up in order to make the feature race here tonight.
Yeah, he's not having one of his best nights. He came back to the Midwest. He ran very well back there all year long, but right now he's got to gain at least 1 more spot, and that's Ted Hines, Tracy Hines' brother, right behind him. Both of those guys trying to move up a couple of spots and get in tonight's feature.
We had expected better things perhaps from Meserol, who's shown some flashes of brilliance in his midget car career, but right now that is Kading challenging him, moving up alongside down the backstretch. As they move into the 3rd corner, they remain side by side, and we only got a couple of more laps to go. So
And boy, this is for all the marbles. This is the spot that everybody's battling for. It looks like Meserol got in there a little bit too high, but he gets a good run off the corner. He used that banking to get a good run, and he stays ahead of Kading.
Coming down for the white flag as Michael Lewis continues to lead. Whoa, some really tight competition there in the fourth corner. Here we go on the last lap. Kading heads for the bottom of the racetrack, and he gets the position for Meserol momentarily, but nice job by Thomas fighting back. It's going to be a side-by-side battle, it would appear, down to the line. Here they come for the flag, and it will be Meserol finishing 8th, and Kading left looking out.
Wow, what a tough break. Meserol did do a great job, though. That little slip and slide, dip and dive move down there. When Kading went around him, he just turned that thing left and shot right back under him as he was still sliding up. And that was a nice move by Meserol to hang on to that spot.
So Michael Lewis wins this first 12-lapper. Tony Hunt finished in the 2nd position. Wally Pancratz ended up as 4th. And then Michael Roselli finished in the 4th position. Well, that's one of the qualifiers. Another one coming up before the big 100-lapper, which will be the Turkey Night racing victory for Michael Lewis over Tony Hunt in that first qualifying race. Pancratz, Roselli, Ricky Shelton in the top 5. In the top 10, Streeter, Curtis, and Meserol. Unfortunately, Bud Kading and Ted Hines, who finished 9th and 10th, don't make the transfer. Let's go to victory lane. Here's Gary.
I want you guys to know how hard I have to work down here, because certain drivers don't know where to go when they win, and we had to push the car from the pit area back here so we could talk to this rascal. Last time I think we talked to you on ESPN, you won that very tight race at Anderson. A little more breathing room in this one.
Yeah, Anderson was pretty close. Tonight, you know, we struggled hot laps and qualifying, and we got her figured out for the semi, so see what we can do in the feature.
Because it's getting colder, has the track changed at all after practice qualifying?
I think it's tightened up a little bit. A lot of drivers, this track's kind of iffy back and forth, but to me, we got tighter, which is actually good because we were too loose earlier on.
If you win the main event, victory lane's out there at the start-finish line, okay?
No problem.
May see you there. Hey, here's one of the young guns. Here's another young gun with Amy.
And on our last Thunder telecast, we saw the young Aaron Fike in an awesome Silver Bullet race. Well, now he's backing that up with one of his best qualifying positions of the year, and you've got the onboard camera. You know, sometimes people don't want our onboard camera because they say it's a little heavy, but you're proving it wrong tonight. It might actually be helping your setup.
I don't know about heavy, but I've heard it's been able to jinx people. Maybe it's bringing good luck tonight. I don't know. We'll find out in the 100-lapper.
Okay, well, we've got some young guns that have been really impressive at Irwindale, and Aaron Fike is definitely one of them.
Second fast qualifier tonight, just missing the mark set by Jason Leffler during the time trials. We've got the second qualifier coming up, Irwindale Speedway, and the Turkey Night Grand Prix, which is coming up in a little while. Right now, we've got the final 8 starters to be determined in this qualifying race. One driver supposed to be in this race is not. The story there from Amy East.
And it's quite a disappointment for Mel Kenyon, who won this race 25 years ago here in the city of Irwindale. Mel, what happened? Why are you not out there right now?
We were busy up there doing autographing and stuff, and I says, I got to go. My heat race is ready to run, and here they're out there now starting that heat race, and I didn't get out there.
Well, it is a disappointment, but Mel, we're glad that you're sharing this Turkey Night with us.
It's always a pleasure to be out here. Thanks very kindly.
Mel Kenyon.
What an incredible career that man has had. Unfortunately, will not be able to compete in the Turkey Night Grand Prix tonight. All right, let's take a look at the row assignments. Rick Hendricks will be on the pole in car number 63. Ryan Newman alongside in number 30. Second row will be Brad Knopfsinger and Alex Harris. The third row, Mark DeBeaumont and Clay Klepper. Dave Steele and Aaron Pollock will make up row number 4. Rory Price and Ryan Scott in the 5th row. Danny Everts and Glenn Carson are in row number 6. The 7th row, John Sorali and Mel Kenyon, although Mel will not be competing. Shane Scully is on the inside of the 8th row along with Chris Odo. Billy Sipe Jr. in number 42 and Mike O'Hare in number 60 comprise row number 9, and Pat Bliss in row number 10 in car number 50. Ryan Newman on the outside of row number 1 alongside Rick Hendricks.
What an incredible young career this man has had. He's obviously moving on to the stock cars. He's very, very lucky, or very, very good. I'm not sure how he exactly got a ride with Roger Penske, but anybody that gets hooked up with that man usually has a golden spoon in his mouth.
Well, and he was very impressive in some ARCA races that he ran, winning a couple of events, and he has a huge career ahead of him. But right now, his job is to get into the feature event, and he'll have to finish in the top 8 to do so. Green flag is out, and here we go in heat number 2. And the front row staying side by side as everybody else scatters. That's Alex Harris in the white car moving to the inside and trying to get a good position as they head for the completion of lap number 1. Coming down for the completion of the lap, we do have a yellow as a car is spun over in turn number 3.
Well, that's a tough break for David Steele. Oh, there's 2 cars down in there. That's John Sorali in the 2 car in the that's sitting there with his back to us, and then the 42 car of Billy Stipe Jr. So that's a tough break for him. Both those guys as they spun there early. That Terry Caves owns that 2 car. He's been around for a long time. His father used to own Indy cars back in the 1960s.
Caves Buick Specials that ran at Indy for many years, and it looks like the 42 is going to be damaged beyond repair, and it looks like that down in the area of turn 3 and 4, they're making the assessment as to exactly who will be able to continue. Well, in the meantime, let's go to a former driver who has never won this race, but he's won a lot of others, Gary.
Well, a 7-time Western States champion, 2-time national champion, and you talk about the great drivers that never won this event. Here's Ron Sleepy Tripp. Came over, arrived late, in fact. I said, hey, stay with me. I have a TV monitor. You can watch the race with me. This is a tough race to win.
Well, you know, it's even gotten tougher here the last few years. A lot of dollars right now, and we were here last year. It was a hell of a race. Wasn't too many cars involved in it, but it was a real good race last year.
Now, by trade, you're an electrical contractor, right? And business has been so good this year that you have really curtailed your racing.
Well, we got a lot of guys working in Orange County, Southern California. The construction's going pretty good, so I've had to really slow down this year, but hopefully next year I can do a little more racing.
I recall we always wanted you to win that 100th Western States show on ESPN. You struggled for a while. Once you got that one, you won a bunch after that.
Yeah, you know, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 after that, but they're getting pretty lean here the last few years, yeah.
Well, Rice Aroni, you can attest to how tough this guy is in a midget.
Well, I certainly can. I used to race with him a lot up here and down in New Zealand. I guess the most heartbreaking loss of my life happened in New Zealand when he passed me coming off the last corner of the last lap in their big 50-lapper down there, and he just beat me. What can I say?
A lot of traffic on the racetrack, but there is also a lot of traffic out on the interstates here in Southern California. Irwindale Speedway is a location as the teams prepare their cars for the Turkey Night Grand Prix. We'll have more of the second qualifier. This is the traveling exhibit saluting the 74 members of the National Midget Racing Hall of Fame. And some very good race drivers are in this group, including Larry Rice. There are 4 new inductees that came into the Hall of Fame this year. Johnny Baldwin, Ken Brenneman, Jack London, and Roy Russing. A lot of great names. There's Larry Rice.
Yeah, that's the old blue tin that we talked about earlier in the show. I got upside down in an Ascot. That was my very first ride that my father had back in the late 60s. This thing has been worked on long and hard. The permanent home is going to be in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, up there at Angel Park Speedway. Bob Higman is the head of the foundation now. Ed Watson has worked on it for a long time, but Bob Higman's now the head of it. And while we're talking about Bob, we might just mention that his wife recently passed away. We want to offer our condolences to him, and he wants to thank everybody for everything that they did during that time when Pat was being laid to rest. Also, we want to mention that Gary Sokola, another dear friend who used to work for USAC, he passed away in the last week or so, and we want to offer condolences to his family. And also Dee Robson, whose nephew, or son, I should say, Brian Robson, has been a long-time supporter. He's worked for Simpson. Anybody that's ever worn a Simpson helmet, I sure know, knows Brian Robson. So our condolences to all of those families.
Getting set for more racing here as the accident out in turns 3 and 4 has been cleaned up. John Sorali and Billy Stipe Jr. were the cars involved in that incident, which occurred before the completion of lap number 1, so we'll have a complete restart. And again, we see Rick Hendricks on the pole alongside of Ryan Newman. Brad Knopfsinger in red and Alex Harris in the white number 54 is in the second row. One more lap and we will go back to racing.
Yeah, and it should be very interesting. If you look back there in the 4th row, that's David Steele in that red and blue car. He came up, he was running silver number 17 car. He is, I think he went to New Zealand and raced. The Fike boys are going to go down to New Zealand and race down there in that series this winter, just in a couple of weeks.
Okay, let's see if we get a clean start here. Off the 4th corner they come. Good start once again. As for the second time, we see the front row moving wheel to wheel through corners 1 and 2, and down the back stretch. It looks at Rick Hendricks is going to be able to grab the lead from Ryan Newman, but coming off the corner, Newman grabs the lead, and he will lead lap number 1.
Well, those guys running pretty much side by side now. Then Newman's going to try to sneak back down the inside as he just went by him going through the corner.
Rick Hendricks in the lead right now. Newman working the low side of the racetrack and trying to move up into the lead, but cannot do it. Alex Harris is running back there in the 3rd position. And
yeah, Newman's working down at the bottom, and there's David Steele. He didn't get near as good a run this time. That's Brad Knopfsinger in the red number 24 on the outside of him. Both of those guys working on the 64 car of Aaron Pollock.
Aaron Pollock recently won at Winchester and trying to get into the main event here tonight.
That's Ryan Scott in the white number 48. He's also trying to move up, get in this feature event. Remember, the top 8 are the guys who transfer, and all those guys battling for that position.
And the number 7 is Dave Steele. The 48 is Ryan Scott. The white car working the high side of the racetrack. That's Dave Steele, who of course started the year down in stock car country, but left quickly and has been running the open wheel cars for the remainder of the season. Right now, he's trying to get around Pollock in the number 64 car, and not having a great deal of success, and now has a better bite off the corner.
Yeah, he got it. He touched him a little bit there in the left rear with his right front. Got Paul. Oh, look at this. Newman goes by. Hendricks just cuts that thing hard left and goes back by him going into the next corner. He's not going to. Look at this. Whoa. Talk about slip and slide, dip and dive. These guys are doing it.
Halfway through this race, and it is a great contest between Newman and Hendricks, a couple of veterans, and a little salute there from Ryan Newman as he came down off the 4th corner.
Yeah, I don't think he liked what was going on there, but once he got out in front and could get about a car length, look at Hendricks, so drive that thing into the corner. He's really getting deep, and it looks like Newman's getting looser and looser.
Newman a little loose coming off the corner, and that allows Rick Hendricks to go back into the lead.
And Newman goes up and gives him a little love tap.
The 98 Western States Midget champ, Rick Hendricks is. So a couple of veteran drivers who know how to get it done are going at it here in this final qualifying race for the Turkey Night Grand Prix. Right now, Rick Hendricks has the lead, and Newman appears to not be able to mount a challenge as he did in the first few laps.
Well, I think once he got around him, I think he got his tires very warm running down there on the bottom trying to get around him. And now then he's caught up with him again, so maybe he can mount another challenge after he cools his tires off.
Lapping the 23 car of Chris Odo. I think you're right. He may be just waiting for the last couple of laps to mount a final challenge here. As there he is on the inside trying to move up. White flag, one more lap to go. He's going to have to get it done in the final lap. We're watching for the transfer position. Looks like Ryan Scott in number 48 has that transfer position, is not being challenged. Right ahead of him is Aaron Pollock in the 64, and that again is Chris Odo, the lap car. And Rick Hendricks comes down and wins it by about a car length and a half or so over Ryan Newman.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what started all that between those two guys, but I think they were not very happy with each other during that race. As you know, first of all, Ryan Newman gives him a little gesture, and then later on he gives him a little love tap going through 1 and 2. But in the end, Rick Hendricks didn't bother him one bit. He just went ahead, kept his foot on the throttle, and went ahead and won the race.
Mark de Beaumont finished in 3rd position. Alex Harris was 4th, and Clay Klepper finished in the 5th position. Well, there was a bit of bumping going on out there, maybe just an indication of what we are to see when we get 30 cars out there. Here's the contact between the two.
See, Hendricks just goes in there, slides right in front of him, and Newman just says, well, I'm not going to spin you, but I'm going to let you know I'm still here.
Rick Hendricks goes on to win, however, that second qualifying race, and now we have the 30-car starting field for the 60th running of the Turkey Night Grand Prix from Irwindale, California. We'll be back to talk with Rick Hendricks. Contest between Rick Hendricks and Ryan Newman for the battle, the lead in the qualifying race number 2. The win goes to Hendricks. Mark de Beaumont, Alex Harris, and Clay Klepper are the top 5. 6th was Dave Steele, Aaron Pollock 7th, and Ryan Scott finished 8th. Those guys make it. Danny Eberts and Brad Knopfsinger among those who do not. Let's hear from Rick Hendricks, Gary.
Let me tell you how heated that competition was. When this race began, his mustache was the shade of mine. That's how tough it was out there. Tell you what, you had to work up a sweat, didn't you? Tell us about that final pass.
Well, you know, it was just a good race. I know Ryan, and you know, we were just having a lot of fun, and when I passed him for the last time, I was just glad not to see him again, and he gave me a little love tap. I don't know why, but it was a lot of fun.
We're showing the pass for the lead, and do you have any indication what that little love tap was over?
No, I really don't, because I don't think I had ever gotten into him at all, so, you know, just close racing.
Any changes to the chassis now before the feature?
Yeah, we're going to make some changes. We need a little more traction, and but I think we're pretty close.
Well, as we watch your pass and the love tap, let's go on down to the pit area to Amy, and you have Ryan.
And Ryan says, well, you know, this is a qualifying race, and he must have wanted that win pretty bad. And you guys really did hustle it back and forth there, but you did give him a little bit of a love tap there at the end, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I just got him back. I got him back once for the 2 times he hit me, but just good to be back here racing and helping Cody Unser. And, you know, it's just great to be back racing midgets here with Tony and Jason and all the guys. And I had a pretty competitive little race there, but hopefully the feature will have a better turnout for us.
Well, while we're talking to you, let's talk a little bit. First of all, congratulations on your upcoming plans in NASCAR. And how often are we going to get to see you back here on Thunder next year?
I don't know. We're putting the schedules together right now just to see what we can do. And, you know, USAC's been a great help to me as a person and also as a racer. And just want to do the best we can to come back and race with them and enjoy what they've done for me.
Well, I know Gary Lee will attest to this. How many times have we heard Ryan Newman say, well, I don't know?
What we do know is that the United States Auto Club has been called the starting line for champions in the past few years, and that is indeed the case, giving the experience and the growth in racing to such drivers as, of course, Jeff Gordon and Kenny Irwin Jr. and many others down the road. And it looks like that Ryan Newman is going to be the latest graduate. It's interesting, we didn't know about those 2 times that he allegedly got hit.
We didn't see that part, did we? No, and of course, Kenny Irwin no longer with us. He was always a great competitor in this event, and we're going to miss him dearly out here at the Turkey Night Grand Prix.
Some of the 3/4 midgets now being pushed off and ready for competition. Once again, we're going to go back and show you the battle that went on in that second qualifying race, and watch Ryan Newman up on the high side of the racetrack as he gets down behind Rick Hendricks and gives him a little bit of a shove, and Hendricks had to do a great job of saving the car, but he did, and Rick Hendricks went on to win that second qualifying race. More from Irwindale Speedway in Southern California. It was 10 years ago that one of the most famous names in short track racing closed its doors, Ascot Park in nearby Gardena. Over 100 entries and nearly 10,000 fans were on hand for the final night that saw Stan Fox and P.J. Jones start on the front row for the 50th Turkey Night Classic. Jones moved out to an early lead, but Fox's white number 9 was never far behind. It was a rough night for points leader Jeff Gordon, who saw his race ended by a flat tire. He would have to wait one more race to clinch the National Midget crown. Just past the halfway point, Fox made his move. Stan used the low groove to pass P.J. in turns 3 and 4. Jones battled back, but to no avail. Car owner Steve Lewis had promised Fox $100 per lap led, providing he won the race. And that's exactly what he did, putting his name in the record book as the final driver to take the checkers at Ascot Park. Jones was second. 85 Turkey Night champ Brett Kading was third. When the racing was over about 1:30 in the morning, it seemed like no one wanted to leave. Those that did brought home some souvenirs of a very special place that hosted the Turkey Night Grand Prix for 30 years.
Well, that was 10 years ago when we closed Ascot. I've talked to these guys in Victory Lane a number of times. The Jones boys are with us. Paige on my right, PJ, and the original PJ, Parnelli. Parnelli, you won this event back in 1964, and the competition, I think, is just as tough now as it was back then.
Well, I think it's getting tougher. Actually, I don't think we had 55 cars showing up for qualifying. However, we did have a lot of competition then, and of course, A.J. Foyt always come out, and he and I seem to have a challenge with each other every year, so it was a lot of fun back then.
When we talk about Ascot, it was 10 years ago. You finished second to a guy named Fox, but we've talked quite a few times at Victory Lane as well, and how was that run at Baja?
Well, the run in Baja, it was long, 52 hours, you know, from start to finish, but we had a great time. I mean, unfortunately, we were only fifth in our class and had a lot of downtime, but, you know, it was an experience that I'd love to do again.
I don't want to turn my back on your younger brother over here. Here's Paige. And Paige, how are you getting along, buddy?
Doing real good. I've been doing a lot of therapy over the past 2 years.
And now I understand you have something on your calendar for next spring. What is it?
Yes, I do. I am going to get married to the wonderful Jamie Zapanovich, will be her maiden name.
Now, what is this? I hear you're also going to work for her dad?
Yes, I am. So it goes along with the deal.
Oh, you know, no more father-in-law jokes then.
No, but I made a deal with her father. As long as I can take her, he'll take me in as his employee.
Oh, I tell you what, that's a double whammy for sure. You know, tonight we're here, and I see you all the time here, Parnelli. Sometimes you're driving the pace car. Some of the joints that you ran in, the dirt bull rings of 20 and 30 and 40 years ago, you could never imagine having a racetrack like this.
No, that's true. This is one of the finest half-mile racetracks around. I mean, I was so impressed when I first come here and seen this speedway that Jim Williams had built, you know, and he put a lot of efforts in. He wanted to make it really a fine speedway, and he certainly did that. And we all love it, and the racing here is really very competitive. You know, you can run high, low, do crossovers and everything else, and it really makes for some exciting racing.
Although you still on occasion compete in various cars and celebrity races, it's been a lot of years since you won some of those major events, but the fans have never forgotten. And as a driver, it must be a heck of a treat to come out like this and see the kind of response that you get.
Well, it certainly is. You know, I feel very gratified in the fact that my name is held up for a long period of time. I think a lot of it is my name is so catchy, for one thing, and I mean...
Rufus?
Yeah, Rufus. But anyway, you know, and I've kept myself in my limelight, and of course with my boys, and I've not only participated as a driver, I've also participated as a car owner for many years, and you know, you stick around long enough, you know, you just become old hat.
All right, what's on your menu for next year?
Well, Busch Grand National, you know, I was in that series all year, and we didn't have the best of year, but, you know, we have Yellow Freight as a sponsor, and it looks like we have a good program coming together for next year, and we're crossing our fingers, working on an Indy 500 program, too.
Well, it's great to have the Jones boys here at Irwindale, Bob.
Wow, nice to hear that he's working on an Indy 500 program for next year. And Gary and Parnelli talked about this facility. If you would mention the amount of $10 million, you would be somewhere in the neighborhood of what it took to build this place. And without question, it is one of the finest half-mile facilities anywhere.
Yeah, Jim Williams has done a great job putting this thing together. He's a longtime supporter of Roger Penske and IndyCar racing. He wanted a great facility in Southern California, and he's got one.
About 15 miles northeast of Los Angeles, Irwindale Speedway, where tonight the 60th annual Turkey Night Grand Prix, moments away. Stay with us.
Can you see what's so special about the new Braun Synchro? It's the first shaver whose head moves from side to side, so it captures more hair and cuts closer. Only it moves so fast you can't see it.
Back here at Irwindale Speedway, when we went to break, you saw the TQs, the three-quarter midgets, on the racetrack, and we are 9 laps away from the finish of this race. We could see history in the making here. Jay Drake is leading the race in 16, and we documented how if he wins this one, he's going to tie a national record. Now, here are the point standings going into this race, and you can't get any closer for the championship with just 2 points separating Irksay and Johnson, and they are currently running second and third. Johnson right now is in second position in the 15, and J.J. Irksay in the yellow number 18 as we go back to racing for the final 9 laps. And look at Johnson try to get to the inside of Jay Drake, but Drake has nothing of that.
Yeah, and that's Todd Hunsinger, who's that black car, who's moved in there and taken over that spot. So he's kind of upsetting the apple cart here a little bit for Irksay.
Irksay indeed does lose the 3rd position, and now Johnson will come up to try to challenge Jay Drake for the lead.
Well, Jay Drake's hope of tying the record of all-time USAC wins in one season certainly lie right here, and he can't break it if he doesn't win this. He can only tie it, so he's certainly going to do everything he can to win this race.
And he is certainly no stranger to the TQs. He was the 1990 and the 91 TQ Midget champion, Jay Drake was. So he continues to hold on to the lead as he comes off the corner and completes the 15th lap. We've got 5 to go, and Johnson now will mount a challenge as he comes off the second corner, tries to get to the inside. Now these drivers are using the quarter-mile track, and maybe some contact there in turn number 4, and Drake continues to hold off the challenge, but Johnson is going for the championship.
Yeah, he's going to win a championship. He doesn't give a darn about what Jay Drake's going for. He's after the championship, and now Irksay's moved back into 3rd spot, so he's up there also wanting to win the championship.
This is a very important race. We could see history being made, and we're definitely seeing the TQ Midget champion crowned here. Once again, Drake has the command of the race with 2 more laps to go.
And the back end of that car looks like it gets looser and looser every lap. Looks like he's hanging that back end out just a little bit more. Gives those guys just that little more incentive to get up there and give, oh, look, there it goes again.
White flag is out. 1 more lap around the quarter-mile track, and Johnson looked to the inside. Cannot pass, however, and will fall back into 2nd spot. Drake comes through turns number 3 and 4, and Jay Drake is going to win it and tie the national mark. And Johnson finishes ahead of Irksay and wins the title.
Wow, what a race. I'm sure those guys didn't want to see a guy like Jay Drake come back and spoil their championship run, but Johnson did everything he could to get around Jay Drake. Jay Drake just said, no, I'm leading this baby and I'm going to stay here.
Well, we assume that Johnson won the title. We'll wait for the official tally of the points from the United States Auto Club, but Johnson did finish ahead of J.J. Irksay, albeit by just 1 position. There is Johnson in the number 15 car.
Well, Irksay, he gave it everything he had. He fell back to 4th spot on that restart, came back to 3rd, and was really put the pressure on Johnson. Just couldn't quite get around him right there as it came down to the end.
Well, there is Drake, and now he has tied the national mark of 19 wins in a season for the United States Auto Club in various divisions. And if he can come back in a full-size midget here tonight and win the Turkey Night Grand Prix, he is going to break the record. And now the word from the United States Auto Club is that J.J. Irksay, despite the fact that he finished behind Johnson, wins the title. And obviously he has.
Well, he's a very happy guy. I'm not sure exactly what the point standings are. I guess we should have researched that a little more, but he certainly is a happy guy. Johnson, not quite as happy, but Irksay, he did a good job. He did what he had to do to win the championship.
Receiving the congratulations from the USAC officials. Well, a guy that certainly knows about the TQs is the champion from last year. He's with Amy.
And following in the footsteps of many TQ champions, Josh Weiss now turns in the TQ for a full-size midget. And in his first year in the Western States Midgets, you have 3 wins. And you're 7th quick in the Turkey Night Grand Prix. Do you even know what that means to qualify so well for such a prestigious race?
Yeah, it means a lot. It's just real unexpected, just coming in my first year like this and to have that kind of success, I guess you could say. We just really wanted to go out there and get experience this year and take care of our equipment a little, but we've had a lot of luck, and I'm real grateful for it.
Well, you know what? I just want to tell you, good job, because you know what, you guys? This was his first ever national television interview, and I thought he did a great job. Good job.
Thank you.
and he is only 17 years of age. There is J.J. Irksay, who now has the helmet off and has received word from USAC that he is the TQ champion for the year 2000.
Well, he did a good job. He knew exactly what he had to do and where he had to be. But Jay Drake, he's got to be a pretty happy guy himself, as he tied a thing that's very hard. There's Gary Lee down there. Maybe he can talk with J.J. Irksay.
Well, you did what you had to do. I know it was probably pretty tough to be patient there, but you had a championship at grasp.
Yeah, we had to be patient early, and then when the 6 car got by, I knew patience was over. We had to go for it then, and because if Walt had finished 2 cars ahead of us, he had got it. So it just feels good. I'd like to thank Guy and Callie Barber for all their help this year and supporting this deal, GB Electric, and also Afterburner Precision Products, Shop Eyes, and USAC, and everybody that helps out on this deal, my whole crew. Everybody just did an awesome job this year.
The object, though, is to win this thing before the last race of the season. It's too nerve-wracking for everybody concerned.
I haven't had much sleep this week, put it that way.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, we'll walk over there as the celebration will continue down here in Victory Lane. The photos are being taken right now of Jay Drake. As you heard him say earlier, he just landed this ride last night. He wanted to at least have a chance to break that record, and to break it, he would have to win the TQ feature. Jay, here's Jay right now. Congratulations. You tied it. You had to have this ride, and as we documented earlier, you just got this ride last night.
Yeah, you know, Dennis Hart and I can see Jason Beam called me a couple days ago and said, hey, we got this TQ, and Jason Leffler was going to drive it originally, and they couldn't get a hold of him and get it worked out. So Beam called me up and said, hey, you want to run this thing? And I said, sure, bring it out there. And sure enough, Dennis Hart called me last night, and they worked hard on it all night just to get it out here. And you know, I started in this TQ series and haven't run one in 6 years now, so we come back out here and win. And hey, it's another USAC race, and it counts for that record, and that's just awesome to be up there with, you know, to see my name alongside with AJ Foyt and Sleepy Trip and all the guys on that list of leaders there. Was just remarkable to see my name with them.
If I talk to you right here after 100 more laps, you're going to be on top of all of them. Not tied, but on top of them.
That's, you know, that's something. It's something that would have been unthinkable this time last year, and you know, we start 11th, and that's going to be a much tougher race, but it's 100 laps, and we like the longer races. So, you know, if I'm standing here talking to you again in about 100 laps, you're right, I'm going to be on top of the world.
And you've had some second, I think, third place finishes as well, so you were very close to taking that title earlier this year.
We were a couple weeks ago at Paris. We were half a lap from winning another midget feature, and had a magneto problem, and so yeah, we're half a lap from being on top of that.